If they are a female candidate, I do try to mention that we are a female-founded, female-led company, especially because it's rare in the startup space, specifically in the financial tech space, at different companies that I've worked at. But for me personally, that's not a big deal. I don't know if I can really see anything that's a really big red flag. Hey, they've been doing this role in a different industry. I think they're worth a shot. We brought them all the way through the interview process and we're able to extend an offer, and they are happily still working at that company.
Hi all, good morning. So today I have Ricki with us, who is an energetic talent acquisition professional with a background in full cycle recruitment and proven ability to source candidates using innovative strategies. These days, that is quite hard to do because everyone is hiring. A lot of companies are laying off, but you need to have different techniques in order to attract and source the best candidates, because at the end of the day, it's the talent that makes companies succeed. Let's welcome Ricki on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where she will tell us about her experience in recruitment, what she's learned along the way, and if we can learn from her learnings. Hi Ricki, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing well. So how's Monday going so far?
Good. It's been a productive day.
How did your day start out?
Lots of sourcing time this morning, which is great. Finding some good candidates who are hopefully interested in our openings at Cube.
Okay. So Ricki, would love to understand what got you into recruitment in the first place.
I had a couple internships during college in different HR areas, one in training, one in recruiting. Really just fell in love with the recruiting aspect, being able to make a big impact on people's lives and kind of being that matchmaker between the company and the candidate and trying to find that perfect match. So it's something that I fell in love during college and then decided to pursue a career in.
Okay, wow. So you did do a lot of people, like a lot of recruiters that I've spoken with are like, oh, we just fell into recruitment. But you made the active choice because you fell in love with it, which is very interesting. So Ricki, because you've been in the field for quite a while, you must have sourced a lot of candidates, you must have found a lot of great candidates. According to you, what makes a candidate stand out in the job market these days?
From an interview perspective, someone who has really strong communication skills is able to provide clear, concise answers to questions, specific examples when asked is really great. Obviously, we're hiring other humans, so love being able to find someone who has a little bit of personality, who who is comfortable kind of, having that back and forth conversation with the recruiter. From a sourcing perspective, when looking at people's resumes or their LinkedIn profiles, definitely focusing on keywords that come up during the hiring manager intake meeting and kind of what we're targeting for that specific position.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think personality, because at the end of the day, you want to work with people who are fun, who can bring their differences to the table where they can coexist, but at the same time, you can learn as much as you can from them, is something very crucial. So thank you so much for mentioning that, Ricki. My next question, Ricki, would be, is that how did you find out about the current company that you work with? What is the company's culture like?
Yeah, so I found out about Cube Software just through a job posting on LinkedIn. Was really intrigued. Cube is a female-founded and female-led company. Christina Ross is our CEO and co-founder. That was something that really attracted me to this space. Cube is a remote-first financial tech startup company. So being able to work for a really strong female leader, especially in the financial tech space, you don't see that often. So that's something that really attracted me to the company. In terms of our company culture, we are very collaborative, team-oriented, everyone willing to pitch in, help each other out. Because we are a startup environment, things do kind of change, priorities change. So kind of being able to deal with that fast-paced environment, but always kind of in a fun, work hard, play hard type of way.
Oh, well, I love that. So you specifically mentioned it's a female-founded company. So would love to understand, because I've spoken with a lot of people, and it's said that if a woman is already a recruiter, there are more likely chances for other women to apply, just because they create a sense of security for women. So how do you make sure you create that sense of security for people who are looking for new jobs by making sure that you attract the best talent? Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, so when I have my initial phone call with candidates, whether they applied online or kind of I found them through some sort of job board, if they are a female candidate, I do try to mention that we are a female-founded, female-led company, especially because it's rare in the startup space, specifically in the financial tech space. We also do a lot of other things for diversity and inclusion. For instance, we just rolled out paid parental leave to all employees, which is really a big benefit, something that was very passionate. Christina, our CEO, is very passionate about being a working mother herself. So we are always trying to find ways to really support all of our employees.
Okay, well, no, I think women can empathize more. I don't know if I'm biased just because I'm a woman myself, but I think women can definitely put themselves in the shoes of other people and understand what they're going through, which allows them to come up with policies that would cater to everyone in the company. So thank you so much for sharing that. My next question, Ricki, would be is What's one thing according to you that stands out to you in a resume when you're like, oh wow, this is a candidate that I would love to speak with as soon as I can?
I love candidates when they put summaries at the top of their resume, just kind of a brief introduction of this is me. I have X number of years of experience in these industries. I do recruiting for our technical roles at Cube, so product and engineering. So love to know what technology stacks they have experience with, just kind of a brief overview to decide whether or not it makes sense to kind of go through and dig through their actual background.
Yeah, okay. I think summary definitely does help just because you don't want, as in, like, it gives you a glimpse of the personality, the way they structure it. So that's very important. My next question, Ricki, would be is, um, what's one thing that does, as in, like, is a red flag for you in a resume?
That's a good question. I I don't know. I mean, I know some people would say job hopping, but I myself have changed jobs quite a bit, being able to get experience with different industries, different type companies. So for me personally, kind of people who have changed careers or changed jobs isn't really a big red flag. I know some hiring managers potentially may not see it that way at different companies that I've worked at, but for me personally, that's not a big deal. I don't know if I can really see anything that's a really big red flag. Potentially a bad grammar or like misspellings. And if there's
Yeah.
like several of them, that could be a red flag.
Okay, no, no, that makes sense. Ricki, can you tell us about your best hiring story that you've hired for and you were like, oh wow, I made a difference in that person's life?
Yeah. So one of my previous companies, I had a candidate who was coming from the nonprofit world and wanted to break into the tech industry, had a lot of transferable skills that we were looking for on the hard skills and soft skills type of thing, but of course didn't have the experience in the tech industry, was able to share that candidate's potential with the hiring team and saying, hey, they've been doing this role in a different industry. I think they're worth a shot. We brought them all the way through the interview process and were able to extend an offer, and they are happily still working at that company. So
Oh
big
wow.
win.
No, I think that's something that's super amazing because I think a lot of people have understood the importance of soft skills just because they're transferable across industries. Hard skills aren't as much. So you definitely took a chance on the candidate, and I'm pretty sure whoever they are, they're lucky that you were a part of their journey and they're working for a company that they're passionate about. So thank you so much for sharing that, Ricki. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Last question, Ricki, would be is so it's going to comprise of two parts. I think the first part would be is you mentioned that your company has 4 to 5 hiring steps. What are the hiring steps so that people are looking for jobs and they're looking to understand what the company is like, they know what to apply for? And the second part specifically focuses on how long does it take from the first interview to the last process for you guys to roll out an offer because a lot of candidates don't like waiting in the market these days.
For sure. Great question. So typically our process starts with a recruiter phone interview, 20 to 30 minutes, just getting a good understanding of the candidate's background. They have an opportunity to ask questions about Cube, the role, the team, kind of making sure it's a good match up front. Then the next step would be a Zoom interview via video with the hiring manager. If that goes well, some roles have assessments, some don't. Kind of depends on what the position is. After the assessment step, then it would be a team interview step, potentially meeting with different members of the team, anywhere from like 1 to 2 to 3 interviews, usually back to back, again, depending on the role in the department. And then some of our positions have an opportunity to meet with our CEO, Christina, as well as a final step. And then to answer the other part of your question and how long it usually takes, it really depends on scheduling from both our side on the interviewers and the candidate side. We try to make it between like 2 to 3 weeks tops, though.
Okay, no, no, that's a good timeline, and I like the process. And I think speaking with the CEO at the end of the day, for women specifically, would be super empowering, just because fintech is a hard industry because mostly it's male dominated. But to see a woman who started her own startup and everything definitely does sound inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing that, Ricky. Other than that, Ricky, our time is up. It was a pleasure speaking to you on a Monday morning, specifically because I hate Mondays, but your energy was definitely positive and it taught me a lot. So thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing about your wonderful insights, the impact that you made on people's lives, and how you helped someone break into an industry that was completely different from them.
Oh, thank you so much for your time as well. I had a great time.